5 reasons a U.S. invasion of Venezuela is a total disaster. Things are heating up in Latin America. The largest U.S. military buildup in the Caribbean in decades is taking shape, with warships and troops massing just off Venezuela's coast. The official story is a crackdown on narcoterrorism, and they're selling this to the American people as a way to make us safer. But if you're one of the millions struggling with alcohol and drugs, or you love someone who is, you have to ask the real question: will this fix the addiction crisis in America? The answer is, of course not. The idea that we can bomb our way out of the addiction crisis is a total farce. While Washington talks tough, painting Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro as the kingpin responsible for our problems, they are ignoring the catastrophic fallout. An invasion wouldn't just be a foreign policy misstep. It would make the drug crisis worse, waste billions of dollars that could be used for recovery, while creating a new generation of traumatized veterans primed for addiction. Today, we break down the 5 biggest reasons a U.S. invasion of Venezuela is a lie that will only lead to more disaster. Reason 1. The drugs won't magically go away. First, let's be blunt. Invading Venezuela will not stop the flow of drugs into America. It's a fantasy. Even if you believe the argument that a lot of fentanyl is coming from Venezuela, and even if a war somehow cut off that specific route, does that solve the problem for the person addicted to fentanyl? Absolutely not. Here's what really happens. 1. You immediately increase the price of fentanyl and other opioids on the black market. All this does is make desperate people more desperate. I've never seen an addict not get what they need. They'll just have to substitute something else, or steal, or rob to get their fix. 2. Do you really think if you blow Venezuela to shreds, they're just going to stop making drugs? No, the entire operation will just move. They'll go to Colombia, they'll go to Mexico, they'll find a different shipping route. It's a shell game. An invasion doesn't solve the supply problem. It just moves it around while making life on the streets here even more dangerous and desperate. Reason 2. Billions for bombs instead of recovery. The second reason this is a disaster is the obscene amount of money involved. Think about the billions, maybe trillions of dollars that will be spent blowing up another country and overthrowing another government. Now think about where that money could actually be spent to solve the problems we face right here at home. That money could go to actual addiction treatment and recovery in America. That money could go to homeless centers. It could go to rehab facilities. It could go to churches. It could go to people on the front lines who desperately want to help others with their problems but never get any money from the government to go assist. Every dollar spent on a tank or a missile for a pointless war in South America is a dollar stolen from a recovery bed, a counseling session, or a support program that could actually save an American life. The money could be so much better spent healing our own country instead of breaking another one. Reason 3. Creating a new generation of addicts. The third reason is maybe the most tragic of all. We will create tens of thousands of new addicts. You can't send young men and women into the hell of urban warfare, have them watch their friends die, and expect them to come home okay. It doesn't work that way. Now we have another Vietnam. Now you've just created 50,000, 100,000 soldiers with PTSD for the rest of their lives. And what happens to so many of them? They are all going to become addicts and alcoholics. They'll turn to drugs and alcohol to numb the pain, to forget the horror, to try and quiet the nightmares. No one ever thinks through the long-term strategy here. We'd be launching a war supposedly to fight drugs, while knowingly creating the very conditions, trauma, pain, and despair, that fuel addiction in the first place. We would be sacrificing a new generation to solve a problem we claim to be fixing. It's a sickening, self-defeating cycle. Reason 4. A bloody, unwinnable quagmire. And for what? The fourth reason this is a total disaster is that the war itself would almost certainly become a brutal, long-term quagmire. Supporters of this might imagine a quick, clean strike, but that's not reality. Venezuela is a huge country with incredibly difficult terrain, from dense urban jungles to remote mountains. The Venezuelan military wouldn't need to win a head-to-head fight. They'd just need to survive the first push and then melt into the population to wage a long-term insurgency. The government has already been preparing civilian militias for exactly this scenario, signaling a plan to turn any invasion into a nationwide resistance. The result would be a nightmare for U.S. forces. Block-by-block urban warfare and ambushes in a country where you can't tell friend from foe. We've seen this story before in Vietnam and Iraq. This kind of asymmetrical warfare bleeds a military dry. We would be breaking a country and inheriting a vortex of violence that could last for decades, all for a war that doesn't solve the drug problem anyway. Reason 5, the moral catastrophe of it all. Finally, an invasion would be a catastrophe because it would take an already horrific humanitarian crisis and turn it into an absolute inferno. While we focus on our problems here, it's important to understand just how dire the situation in Venezuela already is. Right now, millions are living in extreme poverty. Millions are in desperate need of humanitarian assistance just to survive. Hunger is rampant. The healthcare system has completely collapsed. In response to this nightmare, nearly 8 million Venezuelans have already fled the country, creating one of the largest displacement crises in the world. Now imagine dropping a modern war into the middle of that. An invasion would shatter what little infrastructure remains, obliterate supply lines for food and medicine, and trigger a new wave of mass displacement of millions. While we're not solving our own addiction crisis, we'd be knowingly inflicting unimaginable suffering on millions of innocent people who have already lost everything. There is nothing moral or just about that. So let's recap. It's a total farce. An invasion won't stop the drug supply. It will just make it more volatile. It wastes billions of dollars that are desperately needed for recovery here at home. It will create a whole new generation of American addicts out of our traumatized soldiers. It will trap us in a bloody, unwinnable war. And it will cause a moral and humanitarian catastrophe for millions of innocent people. When you lay out the facts, the conclusion is clear. If you believe that our government is going to go to war with Venezuela to make our country safer, you're being sold a lie. It will do just the opposite. It creates a much greater threat than the one it claims to be solving. But what do you think? As someone who understands the reality of addiction, how do you see this? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you appreciate a perspective that cuts through the political noise and gets straight to the human cost, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching.